Hi, everyone. I'm Carla Fitzgerald. I'm the tech coach at the Marshall and Locke Middle Schools. Welcome to the ins and outs of Google Meet. I think all of you are here now. I've got 251 people on the Google Classroom that I shared with you. Just a little bit about that, the Google Classroom. I'm going to share it with you right now. Under the classwork tab, I put some resources and links. So the resources, one of the number one questions I get about Google Meet is there a groups feature? Or sorry, the breakout groups feature? There's really not. I guess there's a rumor that Google Meet will be releasing one in October. So watch for that. I'm totally going to be watching for that too. But I put some resources here for how to make a breakout group. It's just some workarounds. I've added some Google Meet extensions. There's a whole 4 or 5 of those in there for you. Tutorials. I've put my own tutorials, but I've also put Eric Kurt's tutorials. He's got 20 of them, which I didn't know there was that much to Google Meet, but I guess he found a ton. So it's his blog post about all of the different things you can do with Google Meet. Some of the videos are 30 seconds long. Some are a little bit longer. And then I found a tutorial for one of the extensions I'm sharing with you called Breakout Rooms, and it's how to actually make that extension work for you. So I've also at the top put a link to today's presentation. If you have any resources or things that you like to do with Google Meet, feel free to post them right here under what resources or suggestions do you have. And then finally, if you have questions during this presentation, please post here. And at the end, I will answer any of the questions that you have. But as I said, there's not a lot that goes on with Google Meet. So let's get started. All right. So what will you learn today? Basically, you're going to learn how to start a meeting. The 3 different ways that you can do that. You're going to learn how to invite people. We're going to talk about some of the basic features such as layouts, pinning, and the people icon. We're going to talk about the advanced features, recording a meeting and a live stream. We'll talk a little bit about Google extensions such as Nod, Duelists, Push to Talk, Meet Attendance, Breakout Rooms, and virtual backgrounds. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Google Meet etiquette. I've got some resources for things that you can create for your students to help run a Google Meet. All right, let's get started. So, how to start a meeting. All right, so there's 3 ways you can use to start a meeting. First, there is the calendar. So let's go there first. Using the waffle to get there. Next, you have Google Classroom, and we'll talk about that today too. And then finally, you have meet.google.com. All 3 are ways for you to start a meeting. I think the calendar is, for me, the one is my go-to. It's the one I use the most, mostly because whenever I'm setting up a meeting, I'm setting up a meeting with mostly adults. So I'm not really worried about them doing anything that they shouldn't with my meeting. So just create a meeting in Google Meet or in Google Classroom. What you do is you create an event by clicking the create button over here or clicking on a time or a day in your calendar to create the event. You can either get this window right here, or I'm going to go to month view because that's typically where I hang out. Or you can just double click on the day and fill out the fields here. I'm going to stay here. So I'm going to give it a title, Meet with Sean. Set a time if you want, or keep it all day. It's up to you. The way to add the Google Meet is just click Add Google Meet Conferencing. Once that's created, you are given a Google Meet address that you can email to people if you want to. Or you can click this down arrow right here, hover. You can copy it from here too. It gives you a phone number if people can't, for some reason, join using their computer. You can give them the phone number and the PIN number. But that's how to basically create that with Google, a calendar. Now, the one other thing I want to point out to you here is that you can also add a live stream. And that's what I did today to do this meeting because of the sheer number of people. Almost 300 of you are watching this right now. So a live stream is another option too. Now with a live stream, I can't really interact with you guys. It's just me talking and you watching me. That's why I set up the Google Classroom question for you to ask questions if you have anything throughout this presentation. Okay, so that's the calendar version. If you want to add guests, you just type in the guest name. I don't know. I'm not going to add anyone today. And that's it. And then you click save when you're all done. And when you want to go and join it, all you have to do is click on the meeting and click join with Google Meet. The one thing I want to show you though here that's really cool is when you're done editing and you get this like little preview of the event, you'll notice there's two little boxes over here. Those are for you to copy the link. So if you want to copy the link and paste it someplace or put it in like an email or post it to a presentation or put it in a doc or post it to your Google Classroom, you just click that little copy link and then that meeting link is added there. So that's option one. And that typically is the most common option. But however, some teachers over the spring mentioned that they were concerned that students were able to access their Google Meet link after their meeting was over if they shared it this way, which is true. The link is always live. So I could go back to any one of my previous meetings and click on the link and I can go into that Google Meet at any time. Kids are kids. They're not going to do anything too crazy. So if you're comfortable with that option and you're okay with the kids using your link afterwards, leave it. You can totally do it through the calendar. If you're not comfortable with that, the other option is to create a meet using meet.google.com. So on this page, they usually have some really cool piece of art that's sitting there. All you have to do is click join or start a meeting. Now, this is where it gets awesome. So when you create a meeting using meet.google.com, you can create a class code. So let's say this is for your first period science class. The code you can write is first sci, and then click continue. Now, the kids, no one can join your meeting until you have started the meeting and they have to enter that code to join the meeting. And when the meeting's over, wait until all of the kids have left the meeting and end your call, and then the kids can't join again until you have started the next meeting. So that's one way to prevent kids from using links that you don't want them to do. So all you have to do, I'll repeat that one more time, is when you go to create the meet, so go to meet.google.com. You click join or start a meeting, create that code for the class, and then start the meeting. Click continue to start the meeting. So if you're going to do it this way and you're going to email your students that this is how they're supposed to join the class, my recommendation to you is that you should, when you send out if you do it through email, you should give the kids the address meet.google.com, tell them where to enter the code, and then have them join the meeting. And the reason you should do it this way is because you can't just assume that they'll know where the code is supposed to be entered. Also, kids come from various different backgrounds and learning abilities, and the more clear you can be when you're sharing that code, the better off they'll be. We'll close that one out. The final way that you can create a meeting for your students is directly in Google Classroom. This is an awesome feature. It's simple to use. There's no code to mail out, and it works exactly how I just showed you for the Meet. So first thing you have to do is you got to go into your classroom. Once you've set it up, go into settings, scroll down, and then click generate meet link. It usually takes a couple seconds. Once you have it, you have the code right there, and this toggle goes to the right, which makes it visible to students. Make sure you click save. And your kids can find it in one of two places, and let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to switch over to a student account. Okay. So, and I don't know if this guy is in this class. Let me add him. Either be something I forgot to do. There we go. If you hear a little clicking in the background, my daughter is playing with Duplos in the floor above me, so she's kind of making some noise. All right, so this is the student account. I'm going to go to the page, and when they get here, they see the Google Meet link at the top of the page, but they'll also have the Google Meet link at the top of their classwork stream. So they have it in two separate places. Now, as a teacher, once again, if you're concerned with kids playing with the link when you're not there, number one, the kids can't go into the link until you've started the meeting. So I actually used this a lot this summer with a middle school transition team or the transition classes. And I'd always get an email from one kid because he always tried to get into the class early. And it's like, you can't get in until I get in. But if you're concerned about them using the link, you can always go back into settings and turn off, where to go? You can turn off the visibility. So if I were to refresh this page, the student page, the kid won't be able to see. Oh, look at that. Oops, I didn't click save. That's why. Okay, now I'm going to refresh it again. Okay, so there's no link at the top of the page, and there's no link right up here and under their classwork tab. So that is another way. So those are the 3 different ways to create a Google Meet. You have it through Classroom by creating an event, just by clicking the Add Google Meet conferencing, and then inviting people individually, or just copying the meeting link to send out to the people that you want to invite. You can go to meet.google.com and create the meeting from there. By clicking join or start a meeting. And that's what students would do it once you give them the code, or you can just do it directly through Google Classroom by going to the settings and setting one up. The other cool thing I almost forgot to mention to you was that you can actually change the address just by clicking reset if you're in Google Classroom. So if you want to change the address every single time, you can go ahead and do that. Just make it sure that you turn off the visibility for students between each time and then turn it back on. So that's the first way. Those are the 3 ways that you can start a meeting. Next, basic features. So I'm in a live stream here, and I can still kind of show you around what it looks like. So I'm going to click stop presenting so I can show you. So one of the first basic features that people are kind of comfortable with is using the layout feature. So if you use the 3 little dots on the right-hand side of the screen, it gives you the option to change the layout. So back in, I think, April, Google listened to the teachers complaining, and they added the tiled view. So if you're still using the grid view Chrome extension, you can stop. That thing is so glitchy. I hate it. So I removed mine because we have the tiled view now in Google Meet. You can use sidebar, spotlight. Spotlight just shows who is talking at every individual time. I tend not to use that one when I'm talking to people because it just jumps back and forth too quickly. So I like this, either the sidebar or the tiled myself. Or you can just leave it at auto and let Google choose for you. The next feature is the pin feature. So I don't have a lot of people here, but you can actually pin someone to be your main screen. And the way you do that is you go over here to this little guy right here called the Show Everyone. If there was more than just me in this live stream, or if there's a couple people in this Google Meet, what I could do, actually, why don't I show you? What I can do is I can actually pin individual people to okay, I'm going to add another person. It's going to be me. See how this goes. See if this is how much feedback we're going to get. Oh, by the way, you can join a meeting like 20 times if you feel like. Okay, so why are you only showing me? Okay, so I love you guys for texting and sending me messages, but I'm having a hard time checking them, and I won't be able to answer your questions until after. And Chrissy, I know I'm not presenting. Do that right now. Thank you. So I tried to join my own meeting, but it looks like with a live stream, I can't join it. So, oh yeah, look, I just did it. Okay, cool. So on the upper right-hand side of your screen, there's this little guy right here called the pin. The People tab. The People tab allows you to remove people and to add people from the meeting. So right now it's just me and my presentation. The presentation piece is always going to be muted. You can't ever unmute that. It can actually pin this person to the top, so I'm only seeing that person. You can also unpin them. So you could use this, like, let's say a kid is doing a presentation and you want to make sure that that you see them through the whole time. If someone else doesn't shut off their or doesn't mute themselves, just you can use that pin feature. So once again, go back and show you change layout. Stop using grid view. It's awful. Google has answered our prayers and given us the Google tiled feature. Other things that are here is you can make a presentation full screen so you don't have the tabs on the top of your screen. You can turn on captions, which are actually sometimes kind of funny because they don't always pick up the right words. You can use phone for audio, which sometimes if computer's being glitchy, you can do that. And on mine right now, it's showing that I can cast the meeting that I'm in. What that means is that I have 2 Google Chromecasts attached to the TVs in my house, so I could actually cast what I'm doing right now to my television if I wanted to. So if you're talking with family over Google Meet and you have a big TV, that might be a kind of a cool feature to use. All right, so those are some of the basic features. You've also got your chat button where you can have like a sidebar conversation. This is new. I have not played with this, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to learn about that and get back to you guys on that. Some of the more advanced features that we have are recording a meeting. So right now I'm recording this live stream. So you can see the record button up here in the screen. I'm also live. So recording is pretty awesome. And there was a rumor out there that Google is putting the recordings under a paywall, which means that you would have a recording for 30 days and then it would go away. Well, I looked it up, and since we're under the if you're using your education account, it's technically considered a premium account. So all of the recordings that you make using Google Meet, you will be able to keep forever, and you can even download them. So if you wanted to do a screencast using Google Meet, you could, just talking to yourself, you could record your own lesson, and then that you would have that lesson in your Google Drive when you're all done. The other premium feature is the one I'm using right now, and that is the live stream, which I'm going to actually go back out to my calendar and show you how to set that up. So when you create an event and you add the Google Meet, I'm going to go back over to this little drop-down menu to view the conference details. And then there's this option right here that says Add Live Stream. Once the live stream is added, you get the copy code. Once the copy option right here, the copy the stream link. This is what I copied and pasted to the doc that Jill shared with us for the classes. Anyone with that link can stream it. Now, if you invited someone separately, they would probably just join the Google Meet with you just by clicking join with Google and not use the live stream. If they do that, they too are going to be live streamed with you. So if you're going to do that, make sure that people are aware of it. To run the live stream, all people have to do is to click on the link, and then you're watching the live stream. There's no interaction though between you and your audience, which I think which is why I did the question thing in the first place. But it's a cool feature, especially if the meetings are going to have like 300 people like this one does right now. Because otherwise Meet gets super glitchy and only allows up to 250 people at any given time. All right, now extensions. So there are a ton of extensions out there that you can use with Google Meet. Personally, I like to keep it simple, but some of the ones that I liked that I used with the students over the summer was, the first one is Nod. So Nod basically allows you to raise your hand, give reactions. You can actually add more emojis. You can clap. So I really like that feature quite a bit, and it's kind of fun. So that's one you could suggest that you use with your students, is have them add the Nod extension to your class. The other ones I kind of got from you guys in my poll, and I played around with some of them. So Duelists, basically what that does is this allows you to create multiple monitors on one screen. So like some people, when they do like these presentations, like if you go into the Eric Kurtz video archive, you'll see that he's like got 2 or 3 screens going at all times because he's got multiple monitors and multiple cameras running at the same time. This one allows you to actually replicate that on one screen. So I personally would not use that because I can split my screen just by clicking and dragging the tabs, but that might be one that could be good for you to use with your students. Virtual backgrounds I thought was very weird, but some people want to keep their background private. So right now I live in a split ranch. I'm in my basement. And so you can see the Legos that my husband builds in the background. I don't really care, but but some people do care and they don't really want to share their personal space. And this one you might want to offer as an option for your students. But basically what it does is it puts this like generic Google lobby in your background, or like one of these other backgrounds in your background, and kind of has your head floating. So it doesn't even need a green screen. So it's kind of, if you've used Zoom's background feature, it's kind of a similar feature to that. I was laughing pretty hard when I was using it. The next one is Google Meet attendees, and that's not the right breakout room. So there's a brand new feature, and I'll actually put the right one in here, called Breakout Rooms. What it does, and this is the reason I don't like this one, actually, it's kind of driving me crazy that it's there. This one doesn't work really well. I was trying it out with a friend of mine and we got frustrated with it. The one I personally really love is called Breakout Room. It's got a purple B for there it is. What this does is it will create multiple Google Meet windows for you, so you can actually assign kids and toggle back and forth between each group in a breakout. It is very, very cool. The video I shared with you was the short video, basically about how it works. However, each aspect of this Breakout Room app, there's a video that shows you how to use it, and it's awesome. It will open up a separate window, and like if you don't know how to do something, there's a different video for each piece. And videos range from anywhere from like a minute and a half to about 10 minutes long. I think it's really cool. I haven't had a group big enough, and I'm not going to use it with you guys because you're too big. But I thought this was a really good alternative to actually creating breakout rooms or breakout groups for Google Meet. All right, let's go back to our agenda and see how we're doing. Google Meet etiquette. So, as we all know, we teach kids, and kids are a little fun sometimes, and they can be a little crazy when they're in Google Meet. So you want to actually, when you have a meeting, establish some norms with your students. That way, when they're with you, they know what you expect them to be like when they're using Google Meet with you. So I found a couple of things that would be super helpful. See if I can get this one to open. So this is just a simple one, simple pictures, simple explanations, but basically allows you to kind of set some quick norms about having a Google Meet with your kids. So finding a quiet location, using a headset, listen for expectations, use chat for questions, wait your turn. This muting when not talking is super important. It automatically mutes groups that are larger than like 2 or 3, but to kind of tell your kids, mute yourself so you don't have to hear the background, and that if you're using a spotlight feature for your view, they're not cutting you off. So muting is super important. I also found this Teachers Pay Teachers free Google Meet etiquette poster. So if you wanted to create your own poster with your own norms for your class, there's a link there too for you. Hopefully this one works. And this is just another example of an etiquette guide for you. Looks like I found mostly Canadian posters for you. And that is basically all I have. So right now, Google Meet, there's not a lot to it, as I said, but I'm now going to go and take a look at your questions and see what you guys would like to know more about. Come on. Come on. Helene, I'm really not sure what you're talking about. Think that, sorry, that's not a good question. Okay, so let's see. Oh, classroom code for those of you that want to join. Okay, so I'm going to leave this up for a minute, but since nobody seems to have any questions, I'll check one more time. That's all I have for you. When I do the screencasting talk tomorrow, I'm going to talk a little bit more about using Google Meet for screencasting, but we also have Screencastify, so that will be my primary focus. But yeah, so that's all I have. So thank you all for joining. I hope that I was helpful. It's hard to know. I just got another question. So Chrissy just asked if that tile view was only about 16 questions. I had a class last week where I had 24 teachers in it, and I could see all 24 in the tile. The more teachers, it's kind of like Zoom where you have like the pages where you can navigate through. All right. So thank you all very much for joining me, and I will see some of you maybe at 11:30 for my next class, which is screencasting with screen. Oh, is that today? Nope, that's tomorrow. Which is Cami, which should be fun. And it says for elementary and middle, but we kind of did that so Matt could take half and I could take half the classes. So I hopefully we'll see some of you guys at 11:30 for using Cami. Thanks.